Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of the Super Fun Podcast. We got a pretty interesting one today. We're going to focus almost exclusively on indie games today. We are going to talk about one that's not really an indie game, and that's Overwatch. But the rest of the stuff on the subject matter for today is all indie, baby. For a team today, we got some cool people, starting with Ezio. How you doing, my man?
Doing good. How about you, Groot?
I am doing extremely well. I'm energized, and I'm pumped. How about you, Gabe? AP.
I didn't know Panda was here.
Hold on. Okay, so we can cut that out
Yeah,
and then
yes,
say,
we can.
No, we're not cutting that out.
how about you, AP? How about you, AP?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, for the sake of we're 7 episodes in. This is fun. I'm gonna leave it in. Hi, everybody. Welcome to real life in the suite of Zach and Cody, where we screw things up and we don't cut out because this is just who we are. Welcome to the party.
And you don't go in the lobby.
Yeah, you don't. You don't definitely go in the lobby. Never seen the show, so I don't get the reference, but I'm going along with it. All right, let's jump into the subject matter. So we're starting with Overwatch. We've been playing the beta. I would like to say, been having some fun. Let's talk about our thoughts and impressions. What do you guys think?
I think just from playing the one day I was able to play, I think it's really fun. I was a little bit skeptical about the gameplay considering it started as a PC only, but by the way, that's not like I'm not on PC things. I just tend to have less fun when shooters on PC games. But I had a lot of fun. The gameplay felt very nice. Everything just looked aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
And yeah. And the characters were actually pretty fun to listen to, especially with their separate lines and everything. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I like how they kind of went the extra mile and had all the characters had their respective accents for where they were supposed to be from.
Yeah, I agree. I like the interactivity that you can do with the characters, pressing down on your D-pad and having those selections of, different emotions and things you can say.
Yeah.
I like the variety of players, or characters rather, and their abilities, and that they went that diverse to that many characters. I also like the tacticalness behind it, because it does involve team play. And unfortunately, if you play with a party of 4 and you have 2 randoms, it is very hard to play, that I've noticed, very tactically, because the other 2 people usually just rush in and don't stick with you. So it's very hard to plan. But besides that, I really, really enjoy this game, and I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Speaking as the guy who likes to rush in and not coordinate with my team. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, one of the things I thought was really cool about this game, and you can really see how Blizzard's expertise in terms of like building a team-based game, like they've had, is it 11 years with World of Warcraft to really master the art of raiding, where you got tanks, healers, DPS. Each class
they've had quite a while.
Exactly. Each class has their own nuances and strengths and weaknesses, and then you go into a raid, and people have masterfully crafted these like blueprints for a successful raid team. Like, all right, you need to have this many of this particular class rocking this particular talent tree, and they've created the plan for a raid team. And there's different builds, there's different approaches you can go. And I feel like in this game, they've taken that and run with it. I love that when you're you're picking your characters at the beginning of the game, and on the right-hand side, it tells you, like, too many snipers. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
You can't all be rocking snipers.
Exactly.
Exactly.
No healers.
Well, you can't run a full team of Reaper. Oh, right, you can.
Oh, you can. Oh, you can.
Yeah,
baby.
you can.
You're gonna lose, but you can do it.
I haven't faced that yet, and I don't want to because I'm terrified.
Yeah. So
okay, real fast, one comparison I want to make, and I'm a little bit disappointed that 2 certain other hosts haven't played it, or at least one, is Team Fortress 2.
I played some TF.
Okay, you're forgiven. AP, you need to get on the Team Fortress 2.
Busy and job and
You've had a couple years. You've had a couple years.
You've had a few years. You don't have an excuse.
Look, I honestly haven't even heard of it until you guys brought it up to me. I know we have a gaming podcast here, and we're supposed to be the experts.
Okay, you need to.
The truth is,
step back. Did you just say you've never heard of Team Fortress 2?
Hey guys, I gotta go. Great podcast today. Good episode. If you want to find us on Twitter at the Super Fun page.
I'm slowly sinking in my grave right now.
I'm done. I'm done.
Me too. You can leave now, AP.
Good podcast.
I'm sorry.
Good podcast. You're not welcome here anymore.
Well, thank you for refusing us on the shortest Super Fun podcast in history.
Okay, so moving across AP being fired from the podcast. The biggest comparison I can make to this game is Team Fortress 2, where you have the different classes with different setups and weapons they have. And it's very tactical, especially in the different game modes. I feel like this game has a lot of inspiration from Team Fortress 2, with the cartoonish feel, I want to say.
Yes.
The separate classes. A lot of the classes feel like they were inspired, like the dwarf character that can make the turret. I feel like he was inspired by the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer, totally. Of course. I mean, who else would be inspired by?
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, from my extensive knowledge of Team Fortress 2, I mean, yeah, totally, man.
Jackass.
I was gonna say that, but you beat me to it.
Jackass.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, that was about it. I was just saying that I feel I have a very big Team Fortress 2 vibe from this game.
You could also compare the sniper class in Team Fortress to the Widowmaker as well. There's some similarities there.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done it all because you had your engineers, spies. I don't really know who I'd compare spy to. Heavies.
Yeah, you have classes that seem to mimic or at least represent the separate classes the Team Fortress 2 had.
Exactly.
I'm not saying they're copying them. In fact, it's a good thing to look at when you're trying to think of a game like this. Team Fortress 2 is pretty damn good at it.
It is.
So, and I'm happy that I don't know if they took notes from it, but if they did, good job on them.
Yeah, they're two separate games, like you said, with similarities, but Overwatch definitely has its differences standing out more than its similarities to me.
Yeah. But, so moving on.
We've talked a bit about what we like. Is there anything else, before we talk about things that we think need to change, is there anything else you want to point out that you think they did really well?
I like the variety of maps.
I like the objectives.
Yes. Again, the different characters and everything, some of the emotes are just hilarious.
Yes.
I got one for Reaper that's like, you look like you've seen a ghost.
Ha!
And you can just walk up I walked up behind someone, and I did that, and they just turned around, just like, whoop, I'm dead.
Usually is when Reaper's right there next to you. Surprisingly, I've been able to kill him a lot with Soldier 76, so that's been nice.
I like the built-in emote wheel. In fact, I'm not going to say it by name, but there's a certain game that we all play that does not have an emote wheel, and it desperately needs one, especially with all of the silver we spent in Tess Everest. I mean, this unknown building where you can buy emotes that we can't equip multiple at once. I'm just saying.
I completely 100% agree.
I do too.
We have 4 D-pad buttons.
Take note, game developer.
You have 8 if you use the wheel function, or you could do it with technically a traditional D-pad.
You have even more if you play Ark. Ark's got a ton of them too.
Yeah.
Every other game's having it, so why can't this game have it?
D2, baby.
That always confused me.
Wonder what game it is that we all play.
By D2, I obviously meant Diablo 2, because I'm not going to mention the game that we're talking about. Pardon the interruption. Our Skype call just disconnected, and we are in the awkward position of jumping back into the conversation, having lost our mojo. But luckily, we got plenty of mojo in the bank. So we were in the conversation, and I think the time is for us to talk about Overwatch, the things that we think need to be improved. What do you guys think could be done better?
I've already got something about that, and that is I feel like we need a few more game modes and a few more maps. While there's a nice variety of maps, I've cycled through them a few times now.
Well, they've said that the game that we're experiencing right now is what's going to be launched on the launch date, so there's going to be no additional features, but they're working on a lot of post-launch, quote unquote,
We'll get
features.
to post-launch stuff. We'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. So, quite honestly, I see improvements on on a lot more maps and more objective-based stuff. I still think they need to siphon out some of the characters, but how about you, AP, from what you've experienced?
Honestly, my biggest thing is I've had some games that last 7 minutes, real quick. You get to the point, you complete the objective. There's a few different game types, and it's all interesting. So far, in the limited time I've had, it's all been fun. But then I've had other games where, depending on the game type, it's gone as long as like 30 minutes. And what I would like to see is the ability to not just quick play, because if you look at the menu, you've got quick play, you've got play against AI, you've got custom match, and then you've got this. I actually haven't had a chance to play the fourth one, the whatever the weekly thing was. It looks interesting. I want to check it out before the beta's gone, but I want to have an option to play, like in Destiny, you can play Control, Clash, Skirmish, whatever you want to do. I want to have the ability to take all the different game types and pick which playlist I want to opt in for. And that's something we don't see right now. I would love to see that.
Yeah, right now it's completely set as they randomize it on both the map and the game type.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Just a filter to what you want to play at that time.
Before I forget, I do know what that fourth thing is. It's like mystery hero or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I assume what it is that you spawn in as a random hero.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say too. I like to see the feature of spawning in with somebody random for a challenge.
I'm just gonna say you can't declare that you know what it is and then be like, I think it's this. If you're
I said I think I know what it is. I didn't say I know what it is.
I know what it is. I think it's this. Are you right? Am I right, guys? Are you with me? Yeah.
All right. AP, you've never played Team Fortress 2, so I'm not going to agree with you this whole podcast.
You've got a very valid point there. I'm going to shrink into the background right now.
Fine.
Carry on, gentlemen.
But
what else needs to be fixed? What else do you not like?
Well, moving on to the next point, there's some characters that need to be changed a bit.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay. Let's start. Do we want to start out with the big one, or do we want to save him for last?
Oh no, we're starting out with him because I've been waiting all day for this conversation.
The one character, I love him. I love playing as this character, but I completely 100% agree that he needs to be nerfed, and that is Reaper.
Yes.
Reaper. Oh god, those shotguns, man. They can hit from quite a distance. They have a damage fall off, but even then, that damage fall off isn't as far as you think it is.
It's not, because you were literally sniping with those things halfway across the map the other day.
Yeah, on that one map, I got up on a ridge,
yes,
on the bridge and everything, and I was just shooting down on them. And when they got closer, when they were coming out the spawn, I was getting the hit markers and doing damage. And then when they got on the stairs, I was absolutely destroying them. And I was a good 20 feet away from them.
Exactly. It is ridiculous on the range of those. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I thoroughly enjoy a challenge against a character, but when I'm playing as Soldier 76 and a pair of shotguns is out sniping my assault rifle, there's a problem with that because I like to fight out of range. Teleport.
One other thing, in the fact, he can teleport. That teleport has so crazy of range.
Yep.
I was messing around with it in some matches and everything, and I could go building top to building top, just like firing off my shotguns.
Yeah, and another thing too is when you're playing against the AI, how much they
spam the bloody invincibility move.
I know, literally, you'll shoot them.
It's okay, I tested it. After you do 2 shots of damage on them, they'll immediately use the invincibility if they're Reaper. I tested it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I don't have anything against that move in particular because Reaper doesn't have all that much health,
exactly.
so it gives him a getaway move.
Yeah, which is nice, but
another up move that he has is the fact that each time he kills a enemy, that they drop a soul orb, and if he picks it up, then he regains health.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, it allows him to be a very heavy pusher, so he can do a lot of damage, which I'm guessing is the reason why his shotguns do so much damage at range. But I feel like those shotguns, the damage they do, I'm fine with that. They just need to tone down the range on them.
I agree. I think the damage is fine because it still presents a challenge, and it's not like they're like one-shotting or two-shotting you. They're
Right
normally
now, yeah.
it's 4 or 5 shots that kills you, which is understandable. That's good. But the range is just, it puts me at a disadvantage when I'm playing a ranged character.
Yeah, I feel like Reaper was supposed to be like a close to medium close character and present a really dangerous threat. And then that invincibility would let you get in close to finish them off. But right now, he's a threat like medium to semi-long range. He can't get really too many killing blows at range, but he can certainly start doing damage at that range.
I completely agree.
Like, some characters like Reinhardt, who don't really have a ranged attack except for like one ability, they have to start moving toward him, and Reaper just starting putting on the damage at range while they're trying to close the distance.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, AP.
Well, I was just going to say, it sounds like this entire conversation could be boiled down to Reaper is a very specialized and balanced character if we can take the damage fall off of his weapon and rein it in a bit so that he is most effective at shorter range.
If they curb his range of those shotguns a bit, he'll be perfectly balanced in my opinion. I feel like he would be in a good spot. There's another character I felt like that. Is there anything?
Nerf.
Oh yeah, Bastion needs a nerf. That turret mode. I went up against a team of Bastions in one of those defense modes. Full team of Bastions. It was a play match too, and I felt like they were in the same party or something. They just sat on the damn objective, all of them in turret mode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to say anything else. I don't think I need to say anything else.
Well, you don't, and there's nothing really else to say about him besides that dang turret mode. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Bastion. 1, he has an insane amount of health. 2, his turret mode does so much damage in such a short amount of time. 3, he can heal himself at a very fast rate. Yeah, it's ridiculous that like as soon as I turn a corner, I'm getting shot and then I'm instantly dead. Like that's just horrible,
So I was playing a game where I don't remember the name of the game mode, but you're trying to escort this car thing. Yeah, you're trying to escort it.
Escort.
There's one where you have to like capture the zone and then escort it. I think there's another game type where you start off as just trying to escort it from point A to point B. And there was at least 2, I think possibly 3 of those guys with the turrets, and they had found the right vantage points to where we maybe made the car move 30 feet by the end of the game. Like 8 minutes later, we've moved 30 feet. It's obscene how powerful those things are. And I didn't even realize until that game, because I'd never seen anybody stack it like that and deliberately use it to its most powerful advantage point. Like that's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, there's this one map that I think AP and Ezio, you might have been playing it with me yesterday, where we were on that. We were trying to push that final checkpoint in that room, and I kept making the comment like, "This is the hardest checkpoint to get to,"
Yep.
And that Bastion that they had started mounting himself all the way in the back, so no matter which doorway that you came in, he could see you, whether you came underground or from above ground, and he was just tearing us apart because he had Reimer's the shield guy, right? If I got that right.
Reinhardt's the shield guy.
Reinhardt, yeah.
He's the big armored guy with the hammer and the projection shield.
Yeah, so that projection shield, if stacked with that on that checkpoint, is obscene. It is just destructful.
Yeah. I think with Bastion, for what he is, he's supposed to be like this tanky type character. I feel like the damage on his turret mode needs to be toned down, and I feel like the ammo clip for that turret mode needs to be toned down, because you get 200 shots per clip in your turret mode. I feel like it needs to be toned down. I feel like 100 would actually be a pretty good number.
Yeah, that would be good.
100 to 150. 150 max.
With a long reload time too would be
longer reload time, lower the damage, because you fire off so many shots.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put it into perspective how powerful that one clip can be. I sat on one of those defensive modes. I sat in turret mode, just out of reach, outside of their spawn. They spawned. They went out the same door. I started firing. At about 40 to 50 rounds left, the entire enemy team was dead.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was in that game.
Yeah, every single one of them was dead from not even a full clip. I feel like, yeah, they need to tone down the damage, they need to up the reload speed, and they need to lower the clip size for each of.
Can I ask a question?
Huh?
Having never played that particular character, so obviously when you charge up I'm going to just use the term super, your on Xbox, your Y ability. Is that a Y ability, or is that something you can do?
No, that is his normal. That is one of his normal abilities.
Oh my god!
His Y ability, he turns into a small tank, and he gets like cannon.
Trust me, I know.
I hate that thing too. But I recognize that as well.
Oh my god! The fact that that's not even
his
like
turn
his
ability
super
is
move,
a normal ability.
Look, even if that was his super move, I'd be like, that's a bit overpowered.
If it was his super move, I'd be like, okay, it's a super. I understand a bit, but please tone it down a slight bit. But it's the fact that it's a normal ability, plus the fact that he can heal. Say for example, you actually do get some hits on him and then die from him. While he's sitting there in the clear, he can just heal up all the damage you just did to him.
It's ridiculous.
It really is.
Another character, the last one that I really want to talk about is a Widowmaker, whatever she is.
No, don't nerf her.
No. I think she needs a buff.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Honestly. I used her once, and I could not, and I still don't know how to use her. And
I tried to.
I could not figure it out, quite honestly.
Okay. Panda. Okay. Real fast. Panda had told me that charge up the shot and then just aim for an upper body shot because it will still count as a headshot. I'm gonna call complete bullshit on that because I tried that. It's like, okay, so I'm aiming at the upper body, fully charged shot. I hit, not a headshot.
Yeah.
I try it again, not a headshot.
You got to keep in mind.
Then I actually get a headshot and then it counts. So the upper body thing, that's bullshit.
You got to keep in mind there's 3 different categories. Is it 4 different categories? Yeah, 4 different.
It's 4 different categories.
And they all have different health.
I understand that. I was fighting with different types of heroes, and I understand that. But the ones that were surviving from the headshots, they were about average health. They weren't tanks.
Yeah. I mean, like me, I play as Soldier at 76 almost every game because I destroy with him personally.
I don't think I've seen you play another character. I think I've only seen you play him.
I've played a couple others when you're not there, just to try and test them out to get some opinions based on them. And I did pretty well with them, but quite honestly, I tried. I've tried a couple, and quite honestly, Widow is just that one that I just couldn't get a grasp of. I think she just needs to be easier to use.
Yeah, I think they need to give her a little bit of aim assist. Yeah, I almost feel like that she has no aim assist. Her sniper rifle has no aim assist whatsoever.
And it makes body shots do more damage too. No,
seriously,
above the chest.
Yeah, a body shot with the sniper full charge hardly does really any damage. It takes about 3 fully charged shots to the body to actually kill him.
Yeah.
I also feel like the assault rifle mode of her gun needs to do a little bit more damage. Not a lot of damage, but right now it's kind of like a pea shooter.
I agree with the auto rifle version of her gun. Like what you're saying, it needs to do more damage. But honestly, I'm going to disagree with you guys in terms of the sniper because I've used her pretty successfully. And the thing is, what we want to avoid is we don't want a sniper category character to become the dominant archetype because it's too.
I know. I don't want it to do a one-shot body shot. No way in hell do I want that to happen.
Look, the point
I just think
is,
it needs to do more damage.
Anytime you have a sniper character, that's a specialized characteristic. That's something that it takes a specific skill set to be able to use effectively. So if you've got a sniper character and landing headshots, the reward is huge. If you pace your shots so that you have 100% charge every time and you land headshots, every single shot you fire could potentially be a kill. That's huge. That's a faster time to kill than any other class in the game. That's way more effective than anything other class in the game. Reaper. But it has the highest skill gap. And no, it's actually not. It's not slower than Reaper. If like the perfect epitome of a sniper with, God, I forgot her name. What's her face? The female sniper. You know what I'm talking about. Like the theoretical time to kill, Widowmaker is faster with Widowmaker than Reaper, on average, but it takes a lot more like specialized skill set. But that's how snipers should be. Snipers shouldn't be readily accessible and equally usable by every single player. you have like a mid-range auto rifle type archetype that you have for this game. That should be accessible to everyone. You have shotgunners, it's a high risk, high reward, and then you've got snipers. It's not accessible to as many players. Like you have to be able to figure out how to use these guns, and then you've got a very high capacity for execution. Like I think that's what snipers are, man. That's how snipers should be.
Well, I agree with you on that. Yes, the headshots are rewarding. All I'm saying is those body shots need to do just a tiny bit more damage than they already do.
Because once again, we're saying that fully charged. It takes about 3 fully charged shots to the body to kill. I think it should be at least 2 fully charged shots because
definitely not one. Definitely not one.
Definitely not one because it takes a while for it to charge.
Yeah.
So two body shots fully charged should do it.
Well, body shots to who?
Above the chest. So.
Okay. Good point. Good point. Okay.
Maybe Soldier. Question, maybe the character that I play as Soldier 76 would be a good.
Okay. The average attacking player like Reaper, like Soldier, with the average amount of health of around 200 to 250, I feel like 2 fully charged shots to the body should do a kill.
I agree with that.
For like the tanks, it should probably take definitely 3 to 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree with that.
At least. That's what we were talking about. The body shots at full charge should actually feel like you're taking the full charge is worth it.
Shouldn't feel like I'm trying to shoot a marshmallow at you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey man, delicious as they are, they're not super effective. So I'm on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Are there any characters that we think need buffs and nerfs? Okay, well, actually, wait. I do have one. Somewhat. Tracer, I like playing as her, but those guns can feel like pea shooters a lot.
Oh, is that the one that shoots the green projectiles or the yellow?
No, that's the weird dreadlock guy who fires up a freaking sound cannon at people. Tracer's the one that teleports.
Oh, okay.
The whole icon of the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, her guns are kind of pea shooters. I've tried them a few times, and they have gotten some kills, but most of them are kind of cleanup kills. I think her abilities are definitely fine. The only thing I feel like needs a little bit of a buff. Not a lot of damage on those things, but they fire very fast, and they can put out a lot of bullets. But for how much health she has, and by the way, I'm pretty sure she has lowest health of all the characters at about 150.
Whew.
Yeah, I know.
Let me tell you though, hold on, don't underestimate that because I was playing a soldier against her the other day, and she is hard to hit. Let me tell you, I was having a hard time keeping up. I killed her, but it was hard.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like how her health is and how mobile she is. I feel like that's in a good place, but her weapons don't do a whole lot of damage. Like a full clip, I believe is around 20 to 40 shots. I can't remember the exact number. It's one of those two. But on an average health enemy, a full clip will not kill them or get them to half health.
Oh yeah, she wasn't taking me down, which is quite impressive because I only have 200 health. So
yeah, like I was saying, her weapons are kind of just rapid fire pea shooters. I want to see a small damage increase in that because I was having a lot of fun with Tracer, especially with her mobility, but I didn't feel like I was able to get actual kills with her. Yeah. So I want to see her guns get a slight damage buff. Not a lot to where she's mowing down people per clip, but please at least make it so that I take off slightly more than half per clip if I hit them all. I don't want it to be like almost all health with one clip. Like, okay, say I nail every single shot, I want to see at least 60% of their health gone.
Which she was not doing to me. And I will say that because I also play in a very douchey way. When she was attacking me, I threw down my health pack, so I was healing. I was healing at the same because I was terrified, man. She was moving fast, so I was like, "Screw it!" I'm throwing down my health pack, and I just stayed at
that. Mobility is so deadly. It's just the fact that she can't put out much damage.
It's hard to hit her too because like I was trying to hit her with my rockets because I think they have like a 10-second to 15-second cooldown, and I had to like shoot in front of her, not directly at her like I do other characters. So it was hard.
It's the fact that her teleport isn't a travel. She's in a new spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to kind of predict where she is. But yeah, the whole point of it is I want to see her do a little bit more damage. The rest of what she is with her health and her mobility, I think that's in a good place.
Yeah, I agree.
With the exception of a few outlier heroes that seem to be maybe a bit less balanced than others. I think one thing that they've done really, really well is establish an archetype for each of these characters on where they shine and what their niche is and how their playstyle should be. And I think the challenge in the
Yeah.
next couple months as they release and polish and sharpen this game is taking each of these characters that have a very specific way to play the game and, just kind of like make it so they fit within that archetype a bit better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like how the tanks feel like tanks, the attackers feel like attackers, and the support characters feel like they just kind of sit in the back and cry.
I do love that though, honestly. The fact that they arranged that multifaceted, different play styles, different characters with different roles, and you have to balance a team for that if you want to succeed. I do enjoy that. I would like a honestly, I would like a simplified team deathmatch style gameplay format, but I don't think that would fit within this game, so I'm just gonna throw that out the window and assume it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening in this game. They're really obviously objective based on this, so.
And
If they did team
archetype based.
deathmatch, you would only see like Reapers and a couple others maybe. Especially if they don't change him.
All right, so we've got one question left to ask based on this game. Everything that we've seen, played, experienced, discussed, talked about, thought about, felt emotionally, metaphysically, we have to know, is this the kind of game that based on the beta, you're going to buy? Is it a have to buy, or is it a maybe buy, or a screw that, I'm not going to spend money on this? What do you guys think?
I think it's a different. It approaches a different game style, a different different archetypes and different genre that we're not normally used to. And I really think based upon, because I thrive on team-based playing and objective-based games, but I think this game really brings something forward with a lot of potential that we will see post-launch and stuff. So it's going to be a must-buy for me. Quite honestly, a must-buy on the 24th of May.
For me, I'm definitely going to buy it, but that's because I actually had hands-on with it. So this is the type of game that I feel like, okay, well, I know the game's not going to be coming out with a lot of content, but from what I have played, I've had a lot of fun with it. I had the same thing. I have no motivation to actually buy its expansions, because screw that. But I feel like try the game first. Find a friend who has it. Get the beta. Well, by the time this is out, the beta's probably going to be over. Find a friend who has it, rent it, do whatever to give the game a shot if you're iffy about it, and then make a judgment on whether you want to buy it or not. I personally am going to buy it.
Yeah, especially since we've had, actual.
Yeah, we've had all of us playing it. We've had a bunch of fun with it, so I'm definitely going to buy it.
And it hasn't gotten tiring too, even though it's the same game type and everything over and over again.
Well, we are used to also with Destiny stuff, so.
Yeah, so it's been fun. There's a variety of players, the different kinds of characters to try out. So it's diverse and it just stands out to me. So yeah, definitely buying.
Can I say something a bit close to the heart?
Go for it.
I spent the money on getting The Division with the entire pass with all the future expansions, and I really, really hope that game evolves into its potential and becomes something that competes for my attention like Destiny does. I bought a bunch of games while playing Destiny, really top tier AAA games that I've really not spent much time on because Destiny keeps pulling me back. This is the first game that I log on and I have to decide, oh man, am I going to play Overwatch or am I going to play Destiny? I really have to think about it.
know, because I think you said you were planning on playing Trials, but I'm betting you're now thinking, do I want to get on Overwatch?
Well, honestly, I would immediately jump to Overwatch because of the limited time frame, because we have the beta and it's going to end in a few days.
Yeah, it's going to end on Monday, and then we'll have to wait until the 23rd, I believe?
24th.
24th. Yeah, and then we'll have to wait till the 24th to get our hands on the full game.
But it is the weekend, and I do have people waiting on me, including Bo, our homeboy, that I got to play some Trials with. But the point is, I don't feel that with The Division, and I was expecting The Division to be the game that I play when I get bored of Destiny, and it started out looking like it was going to be that game, didn't end up being it. So I'm really like, I'm just saying Overwatch might actually be that game, and that's a surprise curveball because I didn't really know much about Overwatch until this beta dropped.
Yeah.
You just summed up my life with NHL. I've been looking for a game to compete with NHL and Destiny for when I first signed onto my Xbox, and Overwatch is that game.
Are you secretly Canadian?
I'm not Canadian. I probably should be.
I would say that I had trouble finding a game to take my attention off of Destiny, but you guys know for a fact it's a lie.
You mean that game we've been talking about for like 5 episodes?
Yeah.
No.
I have been waiting for something to drag you away from Dark Souls 3. And quite honestly, I think...
it's not happening.
I think Overwatch is going to do that to you.
Yeah, look,
you just don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
It's already done it to you, actually. You just don't want to admit it.
I'm gonna be honest,
I was on Dark Souls like 50 minutes ago.
If it
doesn't matter.
If it wasn't for
Doesn't
Overwatch,
matter.
we're about to have an intervention. It was happening.
Yes.
It was planned. We got your parents involved.
We already had it planned. We were about ready to buy plane tickets, bro. Like we were ready.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not done. I need
Oh,
to 100% it.
It's no. I'm gonna come to your house and break your disc in half unless it's a digital download. Then I'm gonna erase it from your hard drive.
You can easily download it back. Tyler, you haven't thought this through.
Dang it! My plan's been foiled. Oh no.
So back to
All right. So, Dark Souls intervention aside.
All right.
Yeah. I feel like Overwatch is definitely going to be a game we're going to buy, and that everyone should check out.
Yeah, we're gonna buy it. If you want to.
Now,
if you're not convinced based on this conversation, look at some trailers. Look at some streamers.
go watch our
who
live.
streamed it.
Go watch our live streams.
Watch this podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing gameplay as we speak. You're probably already convinced and you're going to buy it.
Yes, it's awesome. Don't deny it. It's 100% buy. You must get it and then add us.
And I'm also pretty sure that 50% of the gameplay is going to be Reaper just mowing through shit.
I literally only have like one game that I played as Reaper. Everything else is
I have a bunch, so don't worry. Don't worry. They'll be seeing the Reaper.
Hey, but do me a favor. Don't fear the Reaper.
But let's move on to our topic of discussion for this podcast.
Yeah.
Our main focus: indie games. AP, which game are we talking about first here? What are you most amped about?
We're obviously starting with Cuphead, which I'm sure most of our listeners have never heard of. I hadn't either until this, because all right, a bit of background. We want to start talking about indie games in this podcast. We want to explore that because honestly, it's the future of gaming. It's the future of innovative gaming. So we did some research on some of the indie games coming out this upcoming year, and one of the games we found was something called Cuphead. Does it sound like a AAA title?
I would like to point out that I've known about Cuphead since last E3.
You know what?
Me too. As well.
Okay, you know what, guys?
Watched it live, learned about it.
Just do me a favor. I'm going to spread my legs. Just kick me in the balls. Just do it.
I had to one-up you for a second. Okay, continue.
Yeah, I'm the proficient noob of the community. I pick a few games that I like and I stick to them, and I have tunnel vision. However, I've recently expanded.
Says Mr. Watches Destiny news 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's my tunnel vision.
Or was that day? Or was that day?
Shut up.
It's 3 times a day, isn't it?
Point
I'm
is,
pretty sure
Cuphead.
That's
So there's this game Cuphead, and it's really freaking awesome. It's like 1930s style art. Like if you imagine Walt Disney producing a video game, that's
Walt
Cuphead.
Disney, 1930s Disney cartoons with the Mario platforming with shooters.
With an odd twist to it as well, engaging in a lot of boss fights.
It looks so great from the small bits we've seen of it. Like when I first saw it, I was like, "Holy crap! This looks awesome!"
It's different, and I really enjoy it. I think it's got like that Castle Crashers game style to it in a way, which I really enjoy.
Oh yeah, another game I know. Totally super into that.
No, just stop talking. You're not in this podcast anymore. Remember? So I like seeing the fact that there's more boss fights inside of this because there's not a whole ton inside of Castle Crashers. So seeing this game in its 1930s kind of style with Cuphead and Mughead and bringing that co-op to it is going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. It's a different style of game, and it's something that we've actually never have really seen done before. And if it has, we haven't heard of it or seen it yet. But this game seems like it's going to make a big impact on the indie game world. Quite honestly, I'm looking forward to it.
For me personally,
same here.
For me personally, like having watched a lot of Game Grumps recently, that's been my latest binge in the last 6 or so months. I've been watching a lot of Super Mario Maker, and the thing is, the traditional style of a side-scrolling, old-school arts graphics game, it's like everything is evolving to this more three-dimensional, better graphics, better frames per second, better resolution, more mechanics. It's like it's all moving in this one direction, but the thing is, that's all awesome, but that's one expression of video game gameplay. And the side-scrolling gameplay is something that it may be archaic in terms of technology, but in terms of gameplay and experience, it's something that I still enjoy. Like, I still enjoy playing the old Mario games. I would love to play... I don't have a Wii U, so I can't play Super Mario Maker, which pains me to this day. And I'm not going to buy one. But
I still need to pick up Super Mario Maker.
But the point is...
I just don't play Mario Wii enough.
So the thing that really excites me about Cuphead is it's taking that older expression of video game technology and it's bringing in current technological advancements and making something beautifully modern while referencing the art style of something beautifully older.
That a lot of us who grew up on some older cartoons really enjoy.
Millennials, disconnect right now. Just end the podcast. Sorry, Greg.
Yes. Yeah, seriously.
Sorry to call you
You didn't play the original Pokemon Red on a Game Boy Color trying to get those street lights.
Man, don't get me started on Pokemon. You'll keep me going for days. Don't even get me started.
Oh, Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Oh God, stop it. Ezio. Pokemon Red, Yellow, and Blue coming back on the 3DS. Okay, stop. Okay, back to Cuphead. Let's focus.
Look, we don't have a release date on Cuphead. I think all of us are probably going to buy it when it comes out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But let's move on to Due Process. I know it's out of order in our notes, but I want to save Drifter for...
The audience didn't need to know that.
You know what? They did, Ezio, because they're intimately involved in the planning process, and they need to read the notes and observe it, and they want to respond to it. So, audience,
they need to do their homework.
Do me a favor, tweet at us at SuperFunPeople and tell us all the discrepancies you have with our notes versus our podcast. Thank you very much. We look forward to your responses.
What notes? I don't know what you're talking about.
We don't plan.
All right, so Due Process. Who wants to introduce this one?
Okay, I got this one. From what I saw of it, it's pretty much a strategic game where one team plays as a breach team and one plays as defending team. The closest comparison that I feel like is going to help a lot of people think about it is think of Rainbow Six Siege, where it's one team's attacking, one team's defending. But this time, it's a lot more on planning. You have quite a bit of time to plan, and you can draw out on a map to figure out what your team will do, whether it be attacking or defending. And it has this like 8-bit-ish art style. So think Rainbow Six Siege, more tactics, 8-bit.
Quite honestly, what I enjoyed most about seeing this game was when you watch the trailer, you see how they're drawing at the beginning, like you're going to go in through this door, and you're going to go through in that door, and we're going to breach this wall and stuff like that. Once you get into the map, those drawings stay on the map. Like your X's and your lines and stuff stay drawn on there in your first person. So you're not just seeing them at the beginning. You actually can follow and reference those points that you drew out on the map. Right below you. You look down and see that you're at the right point, which is cool. I like that.
Now, did they say that you have to stick to what you put in the plan, or can you change it if things go south?
I haven't heard anything about that, but I'm assuming that you can change it up. I mean, it's pretty open to what you can do. It's based on
your execution. The plan is based on preparation for the scenario, but you still have to
Mhm.
execute it. So it's not like you're committed to anything. You could literally
Yeah.
say we're all going to go through the front. And you're like, screw that. I'm going to hook around and go to the back. You can do what you want. You're in control of your controller. But
Okay.
the planning is based on overcoming the scenario. And
Okay.
I think it's important to clarify for anyone that's not heard of Due Process, it is a indie game, small studio, and if you Google search it or YouTube it, you're going to find that the graphics look a lot like a downgraded Minecraft. It's low budget. It's an indie studio, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
They
But
did
I'm not against that appearance style though.
they did something different though. They went design first and then mechanics, which is cool. You know, that's something that they do. And people need to realize is when I say design, I say graphics. It's not just what you see. It's what happens to the things around you. When you watch the trailer, you'll see that, or actually, no, it wasn't the trailer. I'm sorry. I was watching a gameplay video of it, and at one point, some guy was behind a wall, so the guy decided to shoot down up and down against the wall, and the the wall just started destroying. That is graphics. That is design. So it still has advanced features to it, even though it's just got those Minecraft graphics to it, you know?
Yeah.
yeah, and on top of
So
that,
do you get?
wait,
Okay, go ahead.
on top of that, the thing is, we're talking about Mario and side scrollers and Cuphead and how it's an old school style and approach, but it's got a modern rendition of it. I think the thing that really impressed me about Due Process was the fact that it's not just about the art style. In fact, like they didn't really invest as much time, energy, resources in making this the most beautiful game as possible. But what they did
I'd rather functionality than looking good.
exactly, and that's what they did is they produced a scenario where it's purely based on communication, teamwork, and tactics. And the problem with so many AAA games these days, I'm sorry, Activision, I do love some of the games you produce, but I think that your approach at getting as many people as possible to purchase the product is affecting the artistic quality of the product. So many games are focused on reaching out to as many people as possible and not creating a unique, enriched experience. And the thing I
A
liked
lot of
about Due
them look more
Process,
for graphics than actual gameplay.
it's
Yeah,
graphics and its accessibility.
I
Due
add.
Yep.
Process, it's like it's a very niche experience. It's people who like that style of gameplay where you have to plan an attack and or plan a defense. And two people are planning or two teams rather are planning simultaneously how to break into this building, how to defend this building. That's a super awesome concept. That's awesome.
Can I
But
add something to this as well, to like what you were saying
yeah, go ahead.
of the people that like that style? Okay, so this is gonna go a little off topic of the indie games, but there's a game out there called Hockey Question Mark, and most of you hear hockey and you think of NHL 16, which are the big name hockey games, but Hockey Question Mark is essentially an indie hockey game. And the great thing that it implements inside of it is in most hockey games, because I'm sure most of the listeners and you guys aren't familiar with hockey games, you don't have full control of your player. It's basically you can move your sticks back and forth and do a slap shot and a snap shot and aim your shot. The great thing about this game is, yeah, it's got like Minecraft like great graphics, but you have full control of your stick and your movements. So you can move your stick up and down in all directions, and that with your mouse, and it's only PC, but that determines all your stick movements, while you're limited to what you can control inside of like NHL 16 and stuff like that. Even that's the most advanced game, you can't do all that. So that's what the potential that indie games have to bring to the table is those kinds of mechanics. This game right here, Hockey Question Mark, well, it's only a very the graphics are I'll admit pretty bad, but it's the most realistic gameplay that a game can offer for hockey. And I just want to add that to what you were saying for Due Process, if that kind of makes sense.
It does. It just provoked a question in my mind that is a bit of a curveball. It's not on our agenda, and I kind of want to ask it, but it might take us down a rabbit trail.
Go ahead and ask it. I'll try and limit it.
All right, guys, this is a huge issue. This is the idea of so you got the developers, and then you got let's use Bungie and Activision as an example. You got the people producing the game, and you got the people financing the game. they give them the initial income to produce the quality and the quantity, and they have, because they've invested financially, they can modify the direction of the game in a way that encompasses as many potential buyers as possible. I feel like the reason that we want to focus on indie games is because of the artistic possibility of indie producers, because they're producing games for the love of producing games and the artistic capacity they have. They're not producing games to make money, for the most part.
With this thought, I really want to bring up a game we're planning on talking about later, but I don't want to mess up the schedule.
Well, so, if it segues organically, bring it up. But I just like to get the question out there. What is the balance between indie games, or like the philosophy of being an indie gamer or an indie producer, rather, producing the game that you would want to play and producing a game that as many people as possible would want to play? Like take somebody else investing into it out of it, and it's just, you're either going to make a game that you would want to play and less people are going to want to play it because it's very niche, it's specified, or a game that as many people as possible would want to play, but it's not going to satisfy any particular gamer on a super deep level. Like what do you think? So we're talking about the future of gaming. What do you think is the ideal balance between those two ideologies?
I think whichever developer puts the most heart into it, to be quite honest, and the most thought, and the most enjoyableness out of it. I know that's not a word, but that's what I could think of at that time. So I mean, essentially, is like you have indie gamers who are passionate about what they do, and that's not going to say that Bungie and other developers aren't passionate about what they do. But you've got these small teams who don't have as many resources as these bigger companies do, and they're putting as much heart and realism into it as they can to make it enjoyable for those people. And obviously, people go after it for a reason. I mean, personally, I thoroughly enjoy indie games because I like what indie developers have to offer. It is the future of gaming.
I really hate to interrupt, but I had a thought about that as well, of a comparison. I don't know if you guys have played Fire Emblem Fates, but the localization, they did not give a damn about the game. They screwed up so badly. It felt like they were just making it to try to get money. But I've played some indie games that you feel that the developer put just their heart and soul into it. I'm going to go ahead and just mention it now. The game that we talk about later, Undertale, I honestly feel like the developer, Toby Fox, he put so much effort into that game and tried to make it just as genuine as possible, I guess you could say. Like, every aspect of it. The soundtrack is just beautiful. The characters, I can remember almost every single one of them. They were so well done. Just everything about it. You just feel like he put everything into it, and it paid off. While some other games that got a lot of budget, I'm going to mention Duke Nukem Forever, were just a colossal failure, and they got so much money into it.
So we are going to talk about Undertale, and I don't want to derail that. We're going to get back to that because we got to interview you basically on
yeah, I just wanted to mention it while we were on.
Yeah,
it's
super relevant.
Maybe we can have a more in-depth conversation about this on the next podcast when we have.
Yeah, we can go a whole indie episode part 2.
Yeah, so let's move on to. Was there anything that anybody else wanted to say about due process or anything like that?
Yeah. The thing is, from what I've observed, so we've been talking a bit about in the last few episodes this game No Man's Sky, which is produced by an indie studio. In fact, even by indie standards, it's a small studio because it's Hello Games, Sean Murray leading the charge, and they've only had, I think the number is 10 people working on it, which it started out as 4 or 6, and then they brought more people on. It's been this tiny project, but they produced something so amazing and spectacular. The thing is, you've got this archetype of game production. So we think indie studios, we think small teams producing something artistic and expansive and innovative. And then we've got the worst of the worst. So let's say Activision, but let's say World of Warcraft, the latest expansion. There's a very real reason why the subscriber population has dropped so much and why people are not as invested. Or you've got maybe
World of
Destiny.
Warcraft. Wait, is World of Warcraft Activision?
Yeah, they got bought up by Activision.
Really?
Yeah, that's the
Huh?
thing.
Did
I
not
didn't
know
know
that.
that. Oh,
No.
Listen to episode 5 of the podcast.
Okay, just go on. I just wanted to mention that. I didn't know.
Yeah. So the thing is, you've got this small team studio mentality where you're producing something based on artistic merit, and then you've got this large studio mentality where you're trying to reach as many people as humanly possible. And I've seen a lot of games that had a lot of potential really suffer from this problem where you've got this investor. Let's use Activision as a scapegoat because honestly some of the biggest games we've seen recently, it's been Activision's fault, where they invest the money, the game changes, and it tries to reach as many people as possible. And the truth is, like, if you look at Destiny, there's so many things that this game nailed. Like, the gunplay in Destiny is immaculate. I challenge you to find another shooter in all of gaming history that compares with Destiny's physics. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And yet
It's responsive. It's just amazing.
it's
But
so
yeah,
good.
then
And yet so many things went AWOL. So many things were missing. So many things were not fully explored. And the whole story
yeah,
about their story being gutted a year before launch, that's all there. But the point is, like, it's because the game was changed to be accessible to as many people as possible. Now,
I want to bring up a point on the accessibility. Um, and I'm sure you all are sick to death of me talking about this, but Dark Souls, I feel, does a real good job of. Okay, one thing about Dark Souls is that it kind of goes in the older stuff where it doesn't hold your hand. It's difficult, and
yeah,
a lot of people complain about that, but that means they're not buying into accessibility. If you want to play this game, you're playing this game. They're not pandering to everybody. They're playing for the people who want to play the game, but who are willing to try for it. They're not pandering to people who are wanting this easy mode so that they can just rush through the game in 3 hours.
which is, in my mind, pathetic that they would, for any developer that would do that, quite honestly, because the whole point of to buy a game is for a challenge to play it, one way,
Yeah.
whether it's multiplayer or if it's single player. I mean, it's supposed to present a challenge in one way or another. That's why you have difficulty settings,
Yeah,
if you really want to add them.
exactly.
I
That's just
agree.
me.
I agree completely. In fact, I haven't played Dark Souls, and I still intend to buy it, but I'm not rushing to it because I've got other things to demand my time. But
Yeah,
like, if somebody asked me my number one opinion on Dark Souls, it would have been the respect of the fact that they didn't cater to the casual gamer in that way, but they rather
Yeah.
said, if you want to play this game, this is what we're going after. This is the challenge we present, and either you accept that, or this isn't the game for you. And this is the divergence
yeah. I mean,
between.
it does tell you controls. There's notes and everything on the ground and everything. They tell you controls. But if you know what the game, you can just rush on past them, and you can go and get your ass kicked by the first boss.
That's the thing, man. So Groot, you mentioned, and you've mentioned this many times in the past, that indie gaming is the future of gaming, and I think
Absolutely.
there's this oscillating reality of like the artistic integrity of the producer versus the development of a game for a mass audience. Now that gaming is on the forefront of the social radar, now that gaming is actually something that business people take seriously because there's such a large audience and such a large like purchasing power for video games. Indie gaming is the heart and soul of video games. However,
Absolutely.
to keep the industry alive and vibrant, there's not every gamer is like us. Like, you gotta understand that. We like to play games hard. Like, we like to go in depth. Ezio, you like to play Dark Souls until you get 100% completion. I like to play Destiny until I can master the most difficult gun to use in the game and make it the best gun in my arsenal. Like,
here's what I have to say. When I say like gaming, like indie games are the heart and soul and the future of gaming, I'm not just saying like design or graphics wise, because I know a lot of people prefer like having the fancy graphics of open worldness and like The Witcher 3 graphics, for instance. A lot of people enjoy that stuff, but then you've got games like Minecraft, which is essentially, like that. People enjoy that stuff, but the thing that we have to realize is it's not just the game itself, it's the developers that are the future of gaming because as time flies by, these indie developers are going to be joining other companies, maybe big name companies. That's one of the reasons I say is they're the future of gaming is because they're going to be a part of bigger games in the future that they could potentially take a whole 180 turn and start doing something more realistic with their graphics and stuff like that. That's something that I do take into mind as well when I do say that.
here's a curveball. So we got Hello Games, spearheaded by Sean Murray. They created Joe Danger, and if my memory serves correctly, Joe Danger 2. They got enough success that they funneled all of that success money into creating No Man's Sky. And in fact, Sean Murray personally sold his house to be able to fund the production of No Man's Sky as it is today. So
Jeez.
yeah, dude, it's hectic. If you look into the history of Hello Games through No Man's Sky and the obstacles they had to overcome, it's gnarly. If you Google search No Man's Sky right now, probably at least one of the top 3 articles will be on how No Man's Sky was almost canceled. So it's been hectic. So
After all the cancellations of some of the games I really want, I really don't want to see this get canceled. So I'm happy it got able to dodge that.
Yes,
I'm still pissed about the Pirates of the Caribbean game that was canceled.
Sean Murray,
I'm still pissed about that.
Sean Murray, thank you for selling your house.
Dude, you were you're dedicated. We thank you for that, but don't sell your second house wherever you're living now.
You won't have to, dude. No Man's Sky is gonna kill it. But the point is,
yeah, probably.
The point is, this I think is like this underdog story of an indie developer that is like ingenious. Like this is a beautiful team of developers, and they produce something so focused on what gamers actually want that like the amount of hype around this game, it's unbelievable. And the quality that they're producing is unbelievable. And they have not taken any money from an outside producer. They've been offered deals. People have offered to give them money. They haven't even done pre-orders. Sean Murray in an interview said like, yeah, we're not really focused on that. We probably should be doing stuff like pre-orders to get money to help fuel development, but we don't really think about that. We're just focused on what we're producing. Like
that. Yep, that sounds like the type of developer that a lot of studios need.
Exactly, dude. And the thing
they have the heart. That's the thing.
Yes, they have the heart. They have the passion. They have the talent. They have the vision.
I bet the moment that they're completely done with the game, that they're gonna start playing it themselves. Just like, yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Especially with this particular game, because whatever they play, they'll probably be playing a unique game from what we're playing, based on what they discover. But the point is,
to say this, they do have pre-orders out for No Man's Sky, by the way, because GameStop does have an exclusive for pre-orders for them.
Then that's something new. From the interview I saw about a month ago, that was something they haven't talked about yet, which I think is smart. But the point is, look, you mentioned the future of gaming. We had this kind of fleshed out conversation. The point is, if a developer like Hello Games, this is an indie developer that has an innovative idea and the talent to produce something amazing, the only limiting factor here is if something like Activision gets involved, they derail the creative process in order to cater to a larger audience. I think that's the problem here. Is we need to have indie developers having enough visibility and enough ability to produce something in line with their vision without the intervention of a third party that tries to, cater their product to a larger audience while watering down the product.
And that's why because No Man's Sky publisher is Sony, obviously, you know that, and that's what I think that Sony did a good job on here is they let Hello Games have their freedom to do what they wanted with this game. And it's in my mind, if the game lives up to what it says it's going to be and how big it is, that's going to be a breakthrough. That's going to show that, that this publisher, that Sony set a good example for an indie developer. And that's going to go down in gaming history. Once No Man's Sky releases, we are going to see what potential this has to bring out the best in indie games. And I think this game is going to set a really good example on it.
Dude,
Yep,
it's going to set a
agree.
new standard. Like, honestly, I've used Final Fantasy VII as an example for a game that redefined, not even redefined, like set the standard for a genre. No Man's Sky is going to do the exact same thing. This is going to set a standard for what's possible in gaming as a whole, but it's also going to set a standard for what's possible for an indie studio, what's possible for RPG. Like this is changing the game.
What I'm hoping for is not copycats of the game where they're just trying to make the same type of game. What I'm hoping for is we get more games that were made in the same fashion where they're actually trying their absolute damnedest to make the best game they can and not try to pan it to any particular person.
I agree.
It's not going to happen right away because the industry is very set on catering to a larger audience, doing
big name titles is the best way to sum it up.
Yeah, exactly. All the big name titles. Microtransactions is like becoming cemented as a archetype for AAA games. Yeah, I think No Man's Sky is the first step towards breaking that archetype, and it's not going to happen right away. But this is opening the door for other indie titles to step in and start taking some of the thunder from these AAA titles that have essentially had a monopoly on people's purchasing power. Well,
so
I think that's it. I think we've essentially exhausted our conversation for this topic. We could go a lot deeper. We could spend a lot more time here. In fact, we had more on the subject matter for today's discussion, but we're going to wrap this up here, and we're going to talk a bit more about Undertale next week, along with a lot of other things. But if you have been listening this far, and if you enjoy the conversation, if you want to support us as a team, as a community, I strongly, if you're watching this on YouTube, please give a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We are on Twitter at SuperFunPeople, and we highly endorse and recommend that you send us some messages about like questions you have for the podcast, games you think we should cover, things like that, criticisms, critiques, whatever you want. Communicate with us there. And thank you for joining us, Groot. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us today, Ezio.
You're welcome. Always fun to be here. And thank you, AP, for joining.
I did join, and it was awesome, so thank you.
Yep, you did join.
It's been a wonderful episode, and we're going to see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in.